Welcome back to the Far Left Lane podcast. I think this is episode 9. Kevin,
Yeah.
we've done 9 of these things.
We should do something special for number 10 called episode
Yeah,
X.
I like that. Except we kind of do have an episode called X already. That
That's
might be
true.
confusing. Um, but yeah, it's great to be back. I was thinking about it. I also reviewed some of our old footage. Sometimes we take ourselves pretty darn serious on this podcast, Kevin. And I think we thrive in chaos. I think we should be a little sillier. Let's lean into the silliness.
Okay.
What's the silliest thing we could possibly do? Play a dumb game again. Let's do round 2 of the R/D game. For any of you that aren't familiar with that, I mean, first of all, why haven't you watched the other episodes? And here's how it works. We take things that are not political and we assign political labels to them. We get like a binary choice and we just like cats and dogs and we see which one's the Democrat, which one's the Republican. That's basically how it works. Kevin, I hope you thought of some because last time I threw some really silly ones at you. I want you to throw some silly ones at me.
Yeah,
Remember,
I got
this is our silly era. We need to get into the silly zone. Silly zone. All right, R/D round 2. Lay it on me.
All right. Let's do iced or hot coffee.
Okay, this is an interesting one, and I wanted to not. I wanted to keep this on the pod because last time we sort of did this one because we did coffee and tea.
Yeah.
And then we sort of broke into like, well, it would change if it was iced coffee or hot coffee. So let's see if we had the same responses as we did last time, because I don't remember how I justified it,
Yeah.
but I'm pretty sure I said I think iced coffee is liberal.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I think the reasoning being just like it's like tougher just to be like hot black coffee. That's like a man's man,
Yeah.
sort of
I
what you
think
would think of.
it's newer too, right? Like, I mean, when coffee first came out, it's
I guess
you
ice
think
is
they were doing
newer. Ice cubes in general are kind of like a modern thing. But
some of the for me when I'm trying to think of like what's right or left and it doesn't have it's not really related politically. I just think of like
yeah,
if it's newer, it's like, oh, it's progressive. It's the conservative would be like the old. So that's I don't want that
yeah,
reasoning for everything, but yeah.
yeah. It is a gut instinct game, but that's a weird one that I felt like we sort of nailed it last time, but I wasn't sure. I couldn't remember. What else is there on the R/D
How
game?
about Mac or Windows? Mac OS or PC?
I think we did that last time too. We did
Did we
Apple
really?
PC.
Did we really?
Yeah, yeah, we did.
Oh my
That one I know we
gosh.
did. Yeah.
See, I was thinking I had all these original thoughts, but really I'm just recycling. Okay.
Did you watch the previous episode
Uh,
when we did this?
I experienced it. I was there. At least I think I was there. Okay. I
What
have
else?
I have a okay. How about acoustic or electric guitar?
Dude, I have the same one on my whiteboard. That's a good one. Um, uh, I don't really know. I haven't thought of the answer. Um, Damn, I really don't know. I don't even have a gut instinct on this one for some reason.
My gut instinct is to say acoustic for the right.
Really? Okay. Because I was sort of thinking like acoustic, going back to like folksy music where there'd be like protest songs. And I was
Yeah.
thinking that's liberal at first. And I
Mm,
was thinking, but yeah, I guess there's not a lot of conservative dudes in rock and roll except for like Ted Nugent. Um,
yeah. And
I don't know.
even like country right wing stuff, like they have electric guitars, so it's
Yeah. Huh, that's an interesting
I'm
one.
still falling back to that the whole like acoustic was the original. We did before electricity.
That's like that's your way of reasoning is the timeline argument.
If I can't think of any connection, I have to go there. I don't know.
I have a memory of a great grandfather visiting my family like once,
Hmm.
and he was super religious and we weren't. And he's like, "So we're gonna go to church tomorrow morning?" We're like, "Yeah, Grandpa, we're gonna go to church." And we chose one, and he immediately just like lost it. He's like, "There's electric guitars in your church? What kind of church is this?" He thought it was like blasphemous, and he
Yeah.
was very conservative Christian, so
Well, there you go. It adds up.
there's
There's something to it.
that's real data right
Yeah.
there. Give me another one. I like this game. I know
Okay.
it's silly, but we're
The
being silly
next one,
boys.
Yeah, the next one, if you have any, for our listeners, if you have any small children or regular size or large children, you might want to pause the
Okay.
video.
Okay.
Uh, okay, it's a little saucy.
Oh my.
Missionary or doggy style?
Whew, Kevin.
It's getting
Damn.
hot.
I feel like you read that memo about being silly before when you made this RD game. Okay. Hmm. I gotta not go with my own personal opinions on this. I guess conservatives are gonna be missionary,
Yeah.
and a Democrat's gonna be like, I'm trying not to be vulgar here. Um, hmm.
You could be vulgar. We do when
Dem-
we upload these. We always say it's not for children.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Oh, it doesn't show up on
Yeah,
YouTube Kids.
I think that yeah, but then again, I don't know. I'm having a hard time not like saying things that are maybe a little bit too self-reflective. I don't want to show, too much about myself here.
TMI.
Also, I don't want to say anything that's my parents are going to listen to this, dude.
I can cut this out.
No, keep everything in. I don't like edits. Let's keep it all in. Let's
All
be
right.
real. Um I don't know. Is your reasoning kind of the same that just
Yes.
missionary is conservative, so therefore
Yeah.
doggy's a Democrat dog?
Yep. That's
Let's just
exactly.
move on. Let's keep it moving.
Okay. All right. I'm trying to think. How about grilled or fried chicken?
Oh, I like this one. I would say grilled chicken is probably more Democrat. I think it's a little more health conscious, and also there's just that rich history of fried chicken in the South,
That's
which would be
exactly
more.
that's exactly my reasoning when I was thinking about this. It's like usually the South is known for their fried chicken.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think that one's pretty home run answer right there.
Yeah. So a lot of the ones I was thinking about, they're pretty obvious. So I guess it didn't really promote like arguing or being like, no, I disagree. It's this. Um,
Okay, well, I'll throw a
yeah,
couple out that would
because
promote.
that's actually every idea I had for.
I only had a few that I think acoustic electric was one of mine that was on top of mind.
Mhm.
I did have one that I knew would promote discussion or argument, and it's ridiculous. Let's end it with that one. But let's skiing versus snowboarding.
Oh, that's a good one. Um, without any reason, like there's no reason for this, but I think skiing is Republican.
It is, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And snowboarding is more of a young person's sport, and I think that typically younger, more radical people would
Yeah.
lean to the left. Whereas skiing is pretty uptight some places, you know? There's sort of an attitude about skiing that like it's like
A little snooty.
I think I think it's in line with some conservative values.
Yeah.
Um that one's that's a pretty good answer. Okay, this is the one ended on. Probably this is the one to end the R/D game on
Okay.
entirely. Um Men versus women. Yeah, we can clip this one for social media. This will be a good one to really
Okay.
get people upset.
Men conservative.
That's what I
Yeah.
think. I think the same way. Okay, here's why I think this. Um, I mean, I don't completely know why I think it with the men, but I think of women being, they have the ability to create life, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that makes them generally just more caring people, caretakers. And then I think of humanitarian issues being more liberal.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of like more thoughtful, caring people. I mean, this is such a silly generalization, but that's the
Right, right.
point.
There's definitely
Let's
people on both sides that
um,
where
and then
this
I
is.
think of like kind of some Republican stuff being maybe like manly, masculine things like the "Don't Say Gay" bill or gun rights and stuff, like kind of manly stuff.
Mhm.
It's so surface level. That's why this is a fun game
Yeah.
and also tough. We can stop playing the R/D game now. That could be it.
Okay.
Let's do next segment, dude. Let's talk about this debate that happened
Yeah.
the last Wednesday, I believe.
Yeah, I watched
Um,
an hour and a half of it. How long did it go for?
think it was 2 hours.
It was 2 hours, so I missed the last 30 minutes.
With commercials, you probably missed like 15 minutes.
Okay.
And I doubt there was anything, important in that 15 minutes. What are the chances?
Yeah.
Um, I took a lot of notes on it. I thought the big winner of the night was Megan Kelly. um, I
Was
thought
it?
she looked great, first of all, and she sounded great. But also she dominated that thing. I mean, that one woman, I think her name is Elizabeth Vargas or Varga. She's like one of the senior people at News Nation, and she was sort of sidelined. They had Megan Kelly be like almost like the running the show, which I thought was kind of interesting. But I guess she's the biggest name.
Right.
Um, and also, I thought she asked some pretty good questions. There was a weird moment where I saw on the sideline she was getting screamed at by Chris Christie because there was a moment where Vivek Ramaswamy was like kind of going after him. There was some personal attacks. I'll talk about it.
Yeah.
But she was like, apparently he's like, why didn't you call that out? That was that was not fair that he did that to me, and you're supposed to be running this thing. Okay, let's start with each person and my thoughts on it. Geez. DeSantis. Okay, here's the big takeaway from DeSantis was the video that came out on X from this like woman named Laura Loomer. I don't really know what her deal is, but I've heard her name before. I think she just debates political pundits and stuff.
Hmm.
But she took a video from the debate, the balcony of the debate, just filming him, Ron DeSantis, nervous energy before it started.
Hmm.
2 minutes of him just awkwardly fidgeting around, wringing his hands, like sweaty palms on his jacket, and like looking at his phone. It's a stark comparison too, because you look next to him and Vivek Ramaswamy is just like diligently taking notes, and then
Right.
you look next to like on the other side, and it's like Nikki
Nikki
Haley
Haley.
is just getting her makeup and her hair done. She looks casual. She looks like she's backstage. She's like dumb, and poor Ron DeSantis is like. It's like really, it gives you anxiety. It's anxiety-inducing anxiety that he's experiencing.
He's always looked uncomfortable even when the debate's happening. If he's like
Yeah.
having to stay there, like he does these like awkward like smiles where he's like showing a
Yeah,
lot of
he
teeth.
he he has a lot of very uncomfortable mannerisms.
Yeah.
Um, one thing that really stuck out that he was talking about like Middle Eastern men wearing men dresses. I thought that was a funny line.
Oh yeah. When he was yeah, I forget. Jesse and I were talking
I
about that.
forget the
Yeah,
context, but
he
it
was
just
talking about when he was
I
fighting
literally
overseas, right? Or not fighting,
I
but
think
like
so.
when he was serving in the military.
It was just one of those things where I had to rewind like 15 seconds because I'm like, wait, what did he say? Um, I don't know. I'm not a huge Ron DeSantis fan. There's some things I do agree with him on that I'll keep personal, but he's not a president. He doesn't have it, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Nikki Haley, I don't know what happened to the world where we became like we or at least the GOP are this way, but like they just applauded for everything she said or didn't say. Sometimes they just applauded when her name was invoked in someone else, and they're like, Nikki. And then
Right.
like her biggest pop of the night was when she was like sort of suggesting we launch a nuclear weapon at Iran, which I
Oh,
was
really?
like, I can't believe that just got a big applause. Like how backwards the world is that this lady is talking about like continuing to fund, Ukraine and Israel. And she's like, and also we need to punch Iran and punch them hard. Just once, one big punch, one big hard punch. That's the way she said it, which I was like, that sounds sort of like a Hiroshima, Nagasaki type talk.
Yeah.
And that got a huge applause, which I thought was pretty
I
disgusting.
think I missed that.
Um,
My takeaways from the debate when I was watching it was, man, Chris Christie and Vivek were just like yelling, talking over each other a
yeah,
good chunk. I
it
was like,
was,
it was kind of annoying to listen to. I was like,
I mean, Chris Christie really like went after Vivek with like angry dad energy for a
yeah,
moment there. Like he could have wrung his little neck. Um, Vivek was literally doing Trump kind of like personal attacks on people's
right.
intelligence, and also like he went after Chris Christie's weight once. He said, "Why don't you go get dinner or something?"
Oh, I heard
Um,
that. Yeah, it was very, yeah. That's what I was thinking. I was like, I think he's
yeah,
trying to, he's like, yeah, talking about leave here, go get some dinner.
yeah. He's he also, I mean,
Less like it was a little subtle compared to like something Trump would say. He would just be like, "You're way overweight" or something.
I think, yeah, Trump would have just said something like that, like, "Why don't you go get Ozempic?" Or he would, or maybe he would have
Oh
said
yeah,
like, "Go to a," or actually Trump would have probably said like, "You should get out of here, Christy.
you're
Go to
late
a
for
buffet.
Your Weight Watchers
Go
meeting or something.
to something like that." Yeah, Jenny Craig's calling Christy, but yeah, he did just say, "Go get a dinner." The other thing, I want you to pull up a map of Ukraine for this part because I thought it was definitely a sneaky thing where he's like, Vivek is like telling Nikki Haley, "I'd like you to name 3 provinces in Ukraine,"
Oh, I
and
remember
she kind
that.
of like she couldn't really do it, and then Chris Christie also really couldn't do it. But if you look at, that's why I want us to see a map right now.
Yeah,
Even if I'm looking at the map, I can't pronounce. It's impronounceable. It's like, it's a different alphabet, literally.
right.
Like all those places, there's literally, I mean, like Crimea, I guess we know, but I don't think it's a province. And then there's one place called Odessa that I do know of because I know of Odessa, Texas, and it's one of the only places that's like pronounceable in American English.
When I hear Odessa, it
But yeah,
makes me think of that SNL skit, the Alexa thing. Do you remember where is it
which
Keenan
one?
Thompson that's on SNL?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's playing an old character, like an old guy who doesn't know how smart speakers work or something. He's like, "Oh,
Oh
Dessa,"
yeah.
instead of saying
I
Alexa, he's like, "Oh,
I
Dessa."
remember that. Yeah, yeah, I remember that one. Um, I think I just know Odessa, Texas from Friday Night Lights. That's pretty much it.
Oh,
Clear eyes, full hearts.
can't lose.
Can't lose. Um, Christie, Christie actually had a really interesting moment when he did his what they called the retribution speech, where he just went after Trump.
Hmm.
It was actually CNN wrote an article calling it the best debate speech in the history of debates, and it wasn't a sarcastic article.
Wow.
I thought that was a pretty huge accomplishment for him, especially since it's probably his final appearance on a debate stage or
Right.
being a presidential contender,
I
which
don't even.
was funny
What is he
because
polling? I don't even know.
I think
Probably
in
much
last
lower.
place for
Yeah.
sure. Um, I thought it was kind of funny and telling that he did use his final thought time to promote a book. So I was like, okay, there it is. That's what's really going on here. But he also has those funny things like where he like calls Trump Voldemort, which I think is that's just hilarious that like a British book from like book series from the 90s about wizards and stuff has entered like the lexicon to that point where we have presidential candidates
Yeah.
calling each
That's
other
funny.
Voldemort on a stage. That is like wild. Um, I don't know. I do like Chris Christie. I mean, he is a kind of a big gross Bruce Springsteen loving gangster wannabe, but I think he's also running for the wrong reasons, really. But he was the only one that said, I think, the right answer about how to deal with the hostages in Israel. He said, if the army had a good plan or special forces had a good plan to extract those 8 Americans, we'd get in, we'd get out. That's it. If it was a good plan and there was like a relatively safe. No one else said that. Everyone else just wants to give more money and keep it going,
Right.
except for Vivek. Except for Vivek, but he's not
But
really a serious
Vivek's
candidate.
kind of yeah. Doesn't he? Isn't he trying to like play both sides? It seems like he's like, oh yeah, I want to support Israel, but at the same time, he doesn't. I'm a
He
little
that's
confused
what
what
they
his policy
that's
stance
what they
is.
said. They accused him of. I think Nikki Haley, maybe, or maybe it was Chris Christie, accused him of saying things on the campaign trail that
Hmm.
are completely opposite that what he says on the debate stage. I don't really know this because I don't follow his campaign that much. I don't think he is
Right.
a serious candidate. A 37-year-old kind of like snarky businessman.
Yeah.
He's literally just trying to promote his own personal brand, sell more of his woke ink type books, whatever that. I think that's what his books are kind of about. Um, and maybe he is considering a VP position under Trump. Maybe that's part of his plan, but I don't think he would take anything less than that. Any
Yeah.
like cabinet position. I don't
Although
know.
when he's been asked about it, he said that he wouldn't, but I'm sure he probably
Yeah,
would if given the opportunity.
I mean, he did have that response where he was like talking about how if he did when become the president, he would be doing it like as service to America. He's like me and my family are doing really well. We don't really want to live in the White House. Sort of like Trump had that like attitude of we're
Right.
slumming it if we live in the White House. Vivek is kind of doing a similar thing.
Hmm.
Um, phew, I think that probably was most of my takeaways. I covered all 4 of them, I think. Um, it was weird because at the end of it, that one of the people on the stage, I don't remember her name, she said, "Thank you for joining us on News Nation. This was the final primary debate." And I was like, "What?" I think she misspoke. What it was is the RNC officially is no longer a part of the debates. They're going to be just on CNN and ABC after the Iowa caucus next month.
Mm-hmm.
And but the RNC is like basically like, yeah, we have nothing to do with these anymore.
Wow.
I
So
think they think
they'll
Trump is,
still do debates, but
but it won't be sanctioned by the.
weird.
Yeah, I
I
thought that
I,
was strange too.
I would have thought that they would want to control the narrative of, or have
Maybe
some
they
control. I don't know.
maybe they think Trump is such a lock, which is ridiculous. But if they
Yeah.
do think that, they're like, we don't need to spend any more time, effort, or money on, you know, organizing these events.
Yeah.
Let's let the networks do it. There are four more candidates. You would think that they would keep it going until it was whittled down a little bit more, till they get Nikki Haley in a good spot or Trump, seeing whatever happens. Um, but yeah, so we'll see two more of these things next month.
So the only other two things I had was, when I'm actually surprised Vivek didn't say anything to DeSantis, making fun of like heels. He didn't say that in this debate, right? I thought he might have had a
He,
good.
he did last time,
He did last
but
time,
he
but not
didn't.
this last one. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he would try because he didn't nail the timing last
Yeah.
time when he did that, because he was doing a joke about Nikki Haley being Dick Cheney in heels, and then he threw in the little like kind of tag
Weird.
of
Yeah.
being like,
Two.
"There's actually two on this stage,"
Yeah.
and no one really caught it in real time. But he should have done
Well,
another
when
attack because
DeSantis was talking about the dresses, the men wearing dresses, I actually thought that would have been. He's like, oh, that maybe that's where
ooh,
you.
that was a
I
good
saw a connection.
opportunity. Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, you should run. That's a good
No, I'll
opportunity right
just.
there. It's like,
Yeah, there was like a
um,
good connection that he could have made. And also, this is probably an old term. It sounds like it is, but I'd never heard of it. Zuckerbucks. DeSantis was talking about that.
yeah,
It's
I've
like,
never
what
heard that term
the hell's a
either.
Zuckerbuck? Apparently, it's just anything that, Mark Zuckerberg, if he funds some liberal super PAC or something, they're calling that Zuckerbucks. But
Yeah, I think maybe he was trying to coin a phrase, or maybe that's
I
just something I'm
I
not
looked it up,
as
and I
familiar.
was seeing some articles written about Zuckerbucks from the last couple of years since like 2020. So I don't know if he made it, but maybe it's first time I heard it. I don't know.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, that poor guy. I don't even believe he wants to run for president. It's almost like I think he knows his limitations, and he's probably like, I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't. Like, he's
Yeah,
freaking out. His wife really tanked their campaign the other day, though.
really? What?
She put out this public statement saying we need to organize like caravans to Iowa, the Iowa caucus, get a bunch of good Republicans, take buses to the Iowa caucus. And they're saying busing people in is sort of a liberal thing, first of all. You don't want to go down that road. And also, that's like election interference, taking out of state people to an Iowa caucus. And
Yeah,
she's like, they had to roll that back and be like, no, 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 we're just talking about like uniting the Republican Party or something.
yeah.
It
What?
was,
Now that you say that, I think there was something else where they didn't DeSantis say something about like if they're gonna something related to like the mail-in votes, or like if they're gonna doing that, we're gonna play dirty too, and we're gonna take advantage of. I don't know. I forget how he worded it. I have to pull
I
up.
don't know the
He
quote exactly.
yeah, he made some comment about trying to fight fire with fire, I guess, with how Democrats are trying to encourage more people to vote.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'll have to look that up for context.
But it kind of sounded
There,
similar to what you just said with his wife, saying to bring
I
people to.
mean, if we're gonna be real, there is definitely sneaky stuff going on both sides. Like, I told you that Denver officially stopped doing live streams of their ballot counting
Hmm.
because they wanted to protect the ballot counters from conspiracy theorists
Yeah.
that believe there's election interference, which is a really good way to fire up the conspiracy theorists. That's kind of a sneaky thing. And then there's other little things that I noticed. I'm like, okay, this could be like the other day. This is I'm taking a huge reach here, but I saw the other day that the national, not the national Christmas tree, but like the Christmas tree lighting ceremony in what's the capital of California? Is it like Sacramento or something?
San Diego. I actually don't know.
I don't know, but it was they actually had to switch that event to be a live stream only event, and I was like, oh, they're trying to bring back some like kind of like pandemic era like live stream things
Uh,
to get us like maybe into the whole like mailing in ballots again, doing like live stream campaigning. But no, actually their excuse was we're not going to do it live because of Gaza related protests.
hmm.
So there's a lot of excuses they can come up with to sort of manipulate all kinds of things.
Yeah.
Um,
I think I think if we can't do mail-in ballots, I think they should make it where it's like a federal holiday. So that way,
it
because
should
I
be.
remember working retail jobs and stuff, and it being like very difficult to like have time to go out and vote, you know? Like when
Yeah.
you have a demanding work schedule, it's like I feel like we shouldn't, I don't know.
Yeah, if voting is as important as they always tell us, they should make it a holiday.
Yeah. Or make it spread out, like the early voting stuff. I don't know if that's available everywhere, but like it just seems kind of weird to like make everyone try to vote, right before they go into work. Usually in the morning, the lines are really long if there's a good
Mhm.
turnout. Um, Not everyone has the luxury to do that, depending on their work schedule. I mean, they're
Right.
supposed to, but
Well,
some people
Kevin,
aren't in
when I'm
it.
president, I'm going to make you my vice president, and we're going to make Election Day a holiday.
All
We're going to
right.
make the day after the Super Bowl a holiday. I don't think it's fair that people have to go to work after the Super Bowl. Let's also make Memorial Day great again by making it Fourth of July too, kind of like connect them. Because
Yeah,
remember we
yeah.
talked about it in our first tier list.
We need
It doesn't have
fireworks,
fireworks, so let's make more
add
fireworks.
explosions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's it. And we'll just give everyone $1 billion. Yeah. Um. So, are you satisfied on political talk for the day?
Yeah.
Do you want to? Let's move on.
Let's move on.
Um. Uh. We're gonna talk about Gemini. Let's go into that
Okay.
because I have a couple thoughts. I didn't even watch the demonstration because I heard that the demonstration was
Phony.
pretty much faked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched it and it looked really cool. And then later I was like, oh, apparently there
Yeah.
was overblown marketing. Like they
Yeah.
stretched the truth there quite a bit.
Yeah, I heard it wasn't done in real time, so that there is kind of maybe a possibility that these like queries are going to take a lot longer than the competition.
Right.
But at the same time, I did see that Gemini is beating ChatGPT 4 in a lot of benchmarks. But ChatGPT 5 is just around the corner, so then they're going to be like way behind again. It's not like they
Uh,
already have Gemini 2 at the ready.
right.
So
Well, I wonder if some of it too is just like these chatbots get better, with the more the time they've been out. If this is new,
yeah,
maybe it could get a lot better. I don't know.
maybe. I just didn't even watch the article when I heard it was faked because I was like when HoloLens was first announced and
Hmm.
they did that Minecraft demonstration and I was like, oh my God, the future is now. And then like later they're like, oh, that was just demonstration. Like that's potential. What could be.
Yeah.
I was pretty disappointed. That's what this sounded like a lot to me. I was like, okay, so they're showing us like the best case scenario. How could you not do it like in real time or with real voice though to really show what it is? Because that's I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's sneaky, very sneaky. I was actually let me see if I have it here. If I do, I want to read you something because I was looking up. Remember like when Grok came out? I was like, why did they call it Grok? I want to understand the origin of that. So I like looked up what's like the traits of a Gemini because I guess they're going with this astronomy or astrology
Astrology.
thing.
Yeah.
I'm a Gemini also, so I thought it would be interesting to figure out what does that mean?
Yeah.
Because I all I know about Gemini is very little. I'm not a woman, so I don't really know about this stuff. But I guess the Gemini is like it's based off of like twins, and I guess I used to think it was something about like split personality, but it's um, what is the personality of a Gemini? Some of this does make sense to me. Why Google would call it this: playful and intellectually curious. Geminis are constantly juggling a variety of passions, hobbies, careers, and friend groups. They're social butterflies in the zodiac. Quick-witted twins can talk to anyone about anything, finding them buzzing between happy hours, dinner parties, dance floors. Okay, I guess Gemini's gonna go dancing. Um,
Well,
actually, I
their
don't.
chat bot, isn't it called like Bard or something like that? Or I don't know how you.
Yeah, I think it Bard was what it was originally called, right?
Well, I think they're still calling that for the chat bot. I could be wrong though.
Oh, okay.
Their
I
AI
thought
technology, I think like the umbrella technology is called Gemini or something. I don't know. But
okay.
where did
Huh.
Bard come from?
Um, I don't know. What is a bard? Is a bard like one of those like musical travelers, I think?
Oh, I
Like
don't
in
know.
medieval times, I think it's like a guy who would carry around like a lute or one of
Okay.
those medieval instruments, and they would just be like, and then the knights walked down the prairie to the castle to fight the demons. I
It
don't know. That
doesn't
didn't
sound
make
very
sense.
smart to me, or like it doesn't
Yeah,
sound like a technology. I don't know.
bard. It makes me think of lard,
Yeah,
which is also unpleasant.
it's an
Uh,
unattractive name for sure. But
really quickly, I do want to just. I'm curious. I want to compare that that Gemini thing that I just read.
mhm.
What's your thing?
Scorpio.
Your star sign or what is it called? I just want to see if this matches you in any way.
I don't think, if I remember correctly, I don't know if I think you can find something in any like you'd be like, oh, this sounds like it could be, and then most of it, I don't know. They're so general. I don't.
Okay, well, I'll tell people the best prank ever to do on people who actually care about this stuff
Mhm.
is you ask them, like, I'm not doing this to you right now, but this
Yeah.
is what I do to people all the time is I'll be like, oh, hey, let me read your horoscope or whatever. And they're like, oh, I'm Pisces. And then I'd purposely read them the wrong one. And then they connect to that. And then I say, oh, my bad. I read the wrong thing. That was Aries or whatever. And they're like, oh, damn. I've done that a lot. So this is actually Scorpio traits though. Strong, independent characters who crackle with an intensity and charisma that makes them unignorable. For all that power though, they are often remain unknowable to others because they guard themselves and their private lives fiercely.
Okay.
There's some things about that I would say are true
Yeah.
about you, but also I want to move on because this is the dumbest subject we've ever done.
Yeah.
Sorry for
Agreed.
anyone that cares about that stuff, but you need to get a life. Let's talk about the space news.
Um,
You
I,
know, I was
do you have
thinking
space news?
we could go broader because space is everything.
Yeah.
We're technically all news is space news, and
We
AI
are in
news is technically
space.
technology. So we could just talk about everything in technology. It's very broad. We don't have to be so limited. We just got to be sillier. Remember?
Yeah.
Um, so with space news, I only had one little silly story that I thought was more cute than anything. Um,
Tell me about it.
so there's this astronaut that you may have heard of. His name is like something Rubio, American astronaut that went up for 6 months to the ISS, and then there were some delays and stuff, so he couldn't get home when he was scheduled to go home, and he was actually there for an additional 6 months.
Oh wow.
Did you hear about this guy?
No,
Yeah,
I don't think I have heard, but that's
so he was up there doing one of his many projects he was doing was something called the Veg 05 experiment, where
mhm.
they were growing like cherry tomatoes essentially. And when they had their first harvest, they all got samples in these little Ziploc bags. Like, here, try the cherry tomatoes we grew on the ISS. And his floated away. Like he's like, wait, where did my tomato go? And then they all said, well, maybe you ate it and you forgot. You know, it's kind of weird that it would just disappear.
They're trying to
So
gaslight
this
him.
went on. Sounds kind of like it. Sounds like they're doing some astronaut prank wars. Um, so yeah, the tomato was missing for 8 months, and he's back on Earth, and then all of a sudden they're like, I guess they're doing some spring cleaning
They
in the
found it.
ISS, and they find this like one little corner, and there's this little baggie with some like raisin in it, like a little like dried up
Oh yeah.
tomato, and they're like, astronaut Rubio
He didn't eat it.
wasn't lying. Mystery solved. It's so silly but I think in probably space, the astronauts, they have to have little playful moments like that, things like that they make a bigger deal about,
Yeah.
just to fill the time and the narrative. Um,
Man, that's gotta be so rough though to be like planning on leaving and then you find out you're stuck at work for another 6 months.
Yeah, that's
I mean, it is
crazy.
cool
I
that
don't
you're
remember.
in space, but at the same time, I'm sure probably wants to get back.
Still,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, you got to work out a lot in space.
right.
Just like he's probably, oh, I was
All
looking
the
forward
muscle
to going home
atrophy.
and being a fat ass, and then he's stuck up there doing tomato science. Um, but anyways, yeah. If anyone out there listening was like, whatever happened to that tomato? Mystery solved. Yeah. Is there anything else in space news that you read about?
I no, not really. I haven't heard anything interesting.
Um, I have a couple of things maybe we'll talk about next week um if I understand the science behind it. Some of it's pretty complicated, like black holes creating energy, like little power stations from black holes. That
Are you
sounds
talking about
kind of
like that
cool.
Hawking radiation, or is this something different?
It might be something different. We'll
Okay.
we'll 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 revisit this next week or
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
two
Send me a link
weeks.
so I can try to also not be. I'll also not know what it means, but I'll try. Give it my best shot.
Hey, maybe we should rename the podcast like trying to sound smart podcast because that's basically what it is.
Yeah.
A couple
If I,
medium intelligence guys just like being like talking about really next level stuff. I don't know, man. I'm satisfied with how this went. I was thinking, you're the video editor on this podcast, so I wanted to let you decide, how do you want to end this one?
probably right here.